Shalom, my name is Rabbi Kornfeld, and I am going to share with you a simple formula that I learned from my Rebbe, Rabbi Mordechai Goldstein Zatzal. This formula helps us to understand the structure of the Mishnah and where it is that we need to put our energy. Here we have the first Mishnah in Baba Metzia, Shnai Mochazim B'Talit, Zeh Omer Ani Mitzatia, V'zeh Omer Ani Mitzatia. Two people are holding a talit, and one of them says, I found it. The other one says, I found it. So we're going to see what are all these parts of the Mishnah. First, we want to go take a look at what is this formula for the structure of the Mishnah, and then we will look at how to apply it to the Mishnah. So the formula is called the case, law, factor, source. Even source can sometimes be left off. The Mishnah very often does not have a source, but often the Gemara will look for the source. But we have the case. The Mishnah invariably always have a case and a law. We have two people holding a talis. They make their claims. Then what's the law? How do we decide who gets to keep it? And then we have the factor. That's the tom. That's the reason that determines the law's application. So that's the question of why. So the case is the factual scenario, the situation being discussed in the Mishnah. The law is the legal ruling or principle stated, and the factor is the reason why. And the source is from where the law is derived. Very often will be a verse in the Torah. And now there's actually additional terms. This formula is Rav Tzvi Rimon, who is the chief rabbi of Gush Etzion, has these lovely videos. You can find them on YouTube of the Mishnah to teach for schools. And he has a similar formula. He has the case law factor also. And he has another thing that he calls a koteret, the headline, which sometimes the Mishnah will have a headline that will tell you what the Mishnah is about, like the one that we say in the morning, Ezehu Mekomon Shel Zivachim, what's the place for the sacrifices. That would be a headline. And then the speaker would be the authority, the Tana of who's speaking. So that could also be useful to identify who we're talking about. But the very basic structure will always be a case and a law. And the Mishnah may or may not tell us why, what's the Tom. That's the work that we have to find out. So we're going to go to our Mishnah in Baba Metzia and to look at how this structure can be applied. So this is the first Mishnah. So this is, we could call scenario one, which is Shnayim Ochazim B'Talit. Two people are holding a garment. Ze Omer Ani Mitzatiha. This one says, I found it. So that would be the case. They walk into court with this, and they have a dispute, and they are both holding it. Now we have the second statement, which is actually a discussion in the Gemara whether this is the same case with an additional statement, or this is a separate case. But the Mishnah says, Ze Omer Kula Shali. This one says it's all mine. V'ze Omer Kula Shali. This one says it's all mine. So then we have the law, the din. Says what's the law? So this one swears that he does not have less than half. And the other one also swears he does not have less than half. And then they divide it. So what's the factor? So in that we have to look in why that when they come in holding this talit and disputing it, why do they have to take this shavua? And so that the Gemara will discuss that because it's possible they could divide it without a shavua, or it's possible the Beit Din would not even rule on it. There's various ways they could. So here the law is that they do have to swear, and then you can ask an additional reason why do they take such a unusual roundabout language in taking the shavua, and then they divide it. And now we can go to scenario two, which is Ze Omer Kula Shali. one of them says it's all mine. V'zeh omer chetzia sheli. So the other one says it's half mine. So it says, so what's the din, the law? It's ha'omer kula sheli yishava she'en la pachot mishlosha chalakim. The one that says it's all mine, he swears that it's not less than 3/4 mine. Ha'omer chetzia, the one who says half of it's mine, yishava she'en lo pachot me revia. He doesn't have less than a quarter. And then how do they divide it? Zenotel shlosha chalakim. The one with the larger part takes 3/4. Zet notel revia. And the other one takes a quarter. So what's the factor? So we'd have to ask additionally, what's different about this case? Because they have unequal claims. So then why do they have unequal? Why do they have an unequal shavua? Why do they have the language like that? And why do they? And how does that produce dividing it up? And then we have scenario 3, which is hayu shnayim ruchvim agabi behema. 2 people were riding on an animal. O shahaya echad rochev ve'echad manhig. Or one of them was riding it, and the other was leading it. So that is the case. 2 similar cases here, and then they take a similar. This is still part of the case where each one says it's all mine, and then what's the din? And the other one also swears he doesn't have less than half. They both swear they don't have less than half, and they divide it just like we had in the scenario 1. So what's the reason? So we'd have to ask the reason. What are we learning additionally by their riding an animal? Both of them riding the animal, are one is riding and one is leading. What is the Mishnah coming to tell us? What is the chidush? What is the new law learned here? That would also could be considered part of the factor. And then we have an exception to our rule about the shavua, which is bisman shehem modim o sheyesh lehem edim. When they both admit that they both own it, o sheyesh lehem edim, are there's witnesses that can testify who really picked it up first. So the law and the witnesses in this case would be that they both picked it up at the same time. So then cholkim below shavua, they can divide it. They do not have to take a shavua, and then we can ask what is the factor there. So I hope this has helped to show you how this formula, which is, we just review the formula, which is we have the case, which is the factual scenario, whatever the situation is, and the law that is the result of that case. And the factor is that why, in this case, that this law comes into effect. The reason that determines the law's application. And if there is a source, then that also could be something that we could learn about in the Gemara. I hope this has been helpful for you. And if you have any questions, you can be in touch with me.